Okay, boom. We're here on
Yes,
the TruMon Show with PT. How's it going, PT?
and yeah, everything is fine as usual with PHI. And yes,
Yeah.
we can start with today's topics. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to start today with the books. Books. We read a lot of books. Some are
Yeah.
very helpful, very with lots of insight and stuff. But there's some books I'm pointing particularly. It's the religious books like the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, all of them, Book of Dead, the Tibetan Book of Dead, all of them because for my experience, I've been digging a bit into this at the beginning because you seek something, so you think you're gonna find some clues in those books like the Bible and the Quran, and I've read quite a bit of it. And at one point, I stopped because I was getting onto other stuff. But what's is in there, PT? Is there something really helpful for us to read those books, or is just something again to manipulate us and manipulate our minds and stuff? So, what is the
Right.
big deal with the religious books?
Yes, the problem with the books in general, and I'll come to those ones as well, is that I think they only make sense or something like obviously they can be something of use, or something wisdom or some sort of knowledge or information and anything. But if a being doesn't do basics and they are not ready within themselves to discriminate what is useful and what is not, you know, that's when the problem starts. Because I think the first education has to be like for a person to like take control of themselves, take control of their body, take control of their mind, they take control of the whole thing, develop discrimination, and then, and I don't think these none of these books teach any basics and primaries,
Okay,
like including the religious ones. So they don't have any such thing. Okay. And now there are various laws in the universe. The multiverse has a lot of rules and laws. And they might put some of those things in there. You know, they might distort some of them in there. And some things are just general, whatever of that time period nonsense is there, that is there. You know, so it is just a mixture, like a hodgepodge of
yeah,
something. You know, so that's why it's not a document which will make sense as a whole. And since you've gone into it, you must know that it wouldn't have
yeah,
made any sense.
yeah. Here it's very Catholic around me, no?
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's
Whatever of any of these documents would not have made much sense, because I don't think they're covering basics first. Okay, and that what a human being needs to start from and anything. And on top of that, there is a general mishmash of things, and then there is a political, socio-political angle. You know, because if you organize people in groups in that kind of way, it is helpful for you to
so.
organize masses in that kind of way. So,
So, in other words, what you're saying is if you don't have the basic principle of life, the basic
yeah,
stuff, like
yeah.
we keep talking about, it might just be another tool to capture your soul, to
I mean,
capture
it
your
is.
essence.
The funny thing was that in all of these so-called religions, those books in the beginning, nobody even read it. They were not available for the people. They were just there were some people called priests who were supposed to read it and tell the thing whatever they want to tell and anything like that. So until the printing press came or something and more were printed, no one had access to any any of these things in the first place.
Yeah.
So it was like whatever we say is that goes basically, in that way. Like it doesn't matter. And the book, when finally it came out, and people then they found that there was nothing there really making too much sense as a whole. So I mean, these books don't teach multiple principles and laws and stuff properly and in a clear, precise manner. They don't do that. Okay. So then what's left is confusion. Finally, so
Yeah.
I mean, I think book and stuff depends on like what source it comes from. If it comes from a source which actually knows and real knows and wants to um, give that knowledge or share that knowledge to other beings, then only it can have any use. For example, right now, there can be a technical book about, like a television or something, like plasma TV or something, and then like how the circuits are in it are and everything, and someone can tell about that. Obviously, they have to know it first themselves, and then relay it to others. So it will be manual for them to see how something works, and it is real, like it actually. So that's what I call like a sort of real sort of information relayed to. But unfortunately, these books don't fall in that category. They're not manuals, proper manuals for human existence and human body and human life on Earth. I wouldn't call that them to be manuals, which you can use and apply technically to this human life and human existence. So
So
they are
if
not.
what you're saying apply to those books, like these are the most religious sacred books in Babylon that they consider sacred and stuff. So imagine the other books, like all the books on the library shelf everywhere. So if you don't have a basic knowledge of what life is all about, you
Yeah,
might just being like
that's
someone was saying
yeah. That's why the term for those books is called fiction. There's two
fiction.
categories: fiction and non-fiction, right? So
Yeah.
I would say majority of things fall in the fiction category nowadays. It's nothing. It's made up stuff. Basically, fiction means somebody is sitting home and making up.
Yeah. And like I
And
was telling you last time also, is the words kind of matters at one point,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
call it books, and I like I be hook, you take a hook to go catch a fish. So is that made on
And I mean,
purpose?
obviously, I mean, through fiction, that's what's been trying to do. Like they're creating an imaginary world in the reader's brain and that thing. So, and you might get hooked to different concepts through that, and that might not be to your evolution or your evolution have anything to do with that, any of those things. So, obviously, there are distractions, you know,
Okay.
and the same way, like then the cinema became a distraction, or different things became a distraction. Books came first, and then came radio, then came cinema, then and so forth. Right now we have internet. So so it's the same process. It's whether some things are real or not real, like in any format or any kind of medium. Books is one of the medium, and we have had so many mediums after that. The point is whether something is pointing towards reality and actual realistic laws of the multiverse or not, or the real manuals for human living. You know. And unfortunately, we have not had these manuals for human life and the human body and the human existence on Earth. We have not had that, and that is missing in the whole education thing. Like an education is books, right? Like what when kids go to school and stuff, they give them books, but I don't think those books or the religious books or any books have that information right now. So that's
Okay.
it. We have millions of books and millions of books, but we don't have the manual for human living and still.
So is it worth it to dive deep into those books? Like if you have discernment, like you say,
Yeah, I
knowledge
don't think
and
so because
discernment,
I
is
think
it
that's a
worth
waste of
it
time.
to?
It's a waste of time right now
It's a
because
waste of time.
yeah, because that's why I took out the Peace Gita and things like that, because so that people can get some distilled Vedic knowledge in a easy form, and on top of that, like start doing basics themselves, and and that's why I like teaching those basics. If somebody can put that into a written form, that's fine. But right now it's done in the meditation form, and people teach people how to do meditation, and you can have a book or manual of that, but a manual which is happening in front of you, a person explaining to you with your own body, that's usually better than just reading something in a book, you know
Exactly.
you know like so that's why a lot of teaching earlier used to happen like that, shruti smriti in Vedic, which means like listening and seeing and observing and learning, listening and learning. Yeah. So
Right.
that part is there. So I think like a lot of books, majority were distractions, like as a whole. So and nothing to do with the what a human being is supposed to do on Earth. So you could read all the books on Earth, and still not know what to do. Like so,
Exact, because there is some
yeah,
beings that really believe that they have to read, and they
yeah,
read extensive amount of books, but they don't seem to have more knowledge of the basic
yeah.
stuff.
Because finally, in the end, you still because how knowledge is about application, right? If you can't apply something, that's not knowledge. That's what I call information.
Information. Okay.
Okay, but if you can apply something, that's knowledge. Okay, so if they're not going into application,
Okay.
then they are information junkies, not seekers of knowledge. Because knowledge you can always apply.
Yeah,
Like,
because if you start
no
reading
action.
the Bible, you're not gonna apply everything that's in there. It's like
No, it's
that's
not
it.
that. It's
So
not.
it's
It's not.
just information.
Yeah, it's information which is not useful. Like it's not like practical
Okay, I
information or
get it.
anything. So
Good. Okay, that's good for the religious books. Now, my next topic is cars and houses, especially here in North America, and I'm sure UK is the same. It's pretty much like here, everywhere, China, whatever. There's a that's all you see is cars and houses. Like when I walk in the neighborhood, all I see is cars and houses. Very few trees. It seems to be very important for this world to pollute our environment with cars and houses. Like now, you even see people with three, four cars in the driveway. Like, what's the big
I mean,
deal with
the thing
cars
is,
and houses?
the life in the modern world has become into a first thing is like when people are living in countries like Canada and cold and stuff like that. Okay,
Yeah,
they would need a shelter. Right?
yeah,
In cold climates, you need more shelter. So
yes,
so you'll have more houses for sure. Like you know, because you can't live outside because it's too cold.
yeah.
So most of North America, Europe, all these areas, Russia, and all of that are in the cold belt of the earth, right? So you can't survive without shelter.
No,
That's number one. So that's the house part. Okay. Number two comes the like when the movement started. That you have to move from point A to point B. You know, in order to do some things like whatever, like a job, or you have to that thing, and you have to because things are not so local anymore. You know, and people are living far, far apart as well. You know, you are living somewhere in Canada, and then another person is like 10 miles from you, James. And obviously, you can't grow everything. It's there for yourself. You need something from outside for your sustenance. Then you'll have to get there. Okay, so how will you get there? Like either you walk that long distances. If you start walking, then that'll be only job. Nothing else you'll be able to do, right? And if you start using animals and stuff for that, like then you have to take care of them and whatever the whole thing which comes with that. For that you need like like to grow things like grass and all kinds of things that should be there and stuff for the horses and everything. So obviously with this kind of living situations came the need because there's no community. Like people are living alone. Like if there's a whole community, then it's more self-sufficient as a whole. You know, so then they have to come to this modes of thing transport, which we call cars now. So so that became a basically necessity with the way society and civilization developed. You know, and that's what the case was. And that's why like if people lived in like very cities and stuff only, like in the middle of big cities where everything is available, and you have to can just walk around the block, then you don't need the car. That's the only time. But if you are anywhere outside of that kind of thing, especially in Canada and North America, that's huge distances from everything to everything.
yeah,
So
that's the thing. Canada is a huge country. There's a lot of nature spots. Like there, it's big. So there's
yeah.
why exactly do beings choose to live in neighborhoods like stuck on each other? Like you go here in the back, the houses are all stuck, all their lot. Like
Yeah,
say,
because again, it comes down to like logistics and things like that. Because once you make a plumbing system, once you make electricity and that thing, whatever, then it's better to have it all done together
yeah, true.
rather than one here and one there. Then a whole electrical. cable has to go all the way to one house somewhere,
Okay, yeah.
and they can't. The infrastructure required for everything is so that thing that they can only do it in certain places, you know, and
I
it's,
I
yeah.
was always under the impression that beings were doing this because out of fear of nature or fear of being attacked alone in the wood. Like if you live in a house
I mean,
alone in the wood, you're
not
more
necessarily.
vulnerable than,
Yeah, yeah, but I think if you want to going to live like that, then you have to not have electricity and not have a lot of things. Like, then these days that means no net. No,
yeah.
yeah. So there are a lot of things. So people obviously like the way the infrastructure has to be built for that thing. In that kind of living, it has to be of people at the same place at the same time. Where okay, we'll give power to that 100 houses there, or 200 or 500 houses there. That's all. Like that's easier than giving power to one house somewhere in the so and obviously that colder places are not ideal places for humans to live anyways, because you need heating, you need so many things to just survive and stuff.
Yeah, to
So
make it
yeah,
functions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's not that easy. It's not, like it's not the circumstances outside are not like human body temperature is 37 degrees, you know, more than so like and temperature outside in Celsius I'm talking. So in Canada and stuff is zero and below, minus 15, minus 20, and things like that. So then that's not. I mean, human body cannot survive in that, without shelter, warmth, and continuous this kind of thing. So I mean, the choice of living in those places itself demands a lot of things actually, like out of the so that's the practical aspect of this whole situation basically.
I was always under the impression that we were doing this not very consciously, but out of fear of nature, out of fear of being attacked in the wild or whatever. The people
No, I
have
mean,
all kinds of
I think
fear.
um, cold is much bigger fear than anything
Okay,
else.
okay, so cold. That's it. Is a much bigger fear. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
yeah, and
Okay, no, your reasoning makes sense.
it's every day. Like it's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
it's every day. It's not a matter of like just some bear is going to attack you once in a while or something. It's not not like that. So yeah,
It's good because you look at the whole thing, but deeper than I do. Because I
yeah.
look on surface and I say, "Oh, it must be fear," but
No,
it's not
no,
really.
it is just practically how do you survive in that kind of environment?
Uh,
How do you practically survive for survival, right? Like so basic. How do you like?
that's it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, my next topic is a bit related. Is a big hype right now.
yeah.
People are going for it. Some are not. It's the electric cars, and
Yes,
here in Canada, it's kind of not really the best climate for it because in the winter it gets very cold and the battery drains faster than in the summer. But my point is, why and the price of gas now is crazy. It's like $2.10 a liter here
yes,
in
yes,
Quebec. So the price of gas is going up and up and up. Is it a way to exactly to make a shift towards the electric cars? But then the electric cars, you're limited with the battery. You cannot, if you're full electric, if you're not hybrid, you're full electric. You cannot probably do long distance. Then you have
yeah.
to stop on the side of the road to charge it for 4 or 5 hours, whatever, 2 hours.
Yes, yes,
The
yes,
time it takes, like it's so nonsense. The whole thing
yes.
about it.
Yes,
What's
yes. The whole thing with electric car, I've had one, so I can tell.
yeah,
That that with electric car, the thing is, if electricity is being produced easily for you and it is easily available for you, then only it makes sense. And it is not for long travel
okay,
first, and it's
yeah,
for local travel, and when electricity is easily available to you. For example, in the areas which have a lot of sun, for example, you can have a bunch of solar panels, and you can even power your electric car with the solar panels. You know, you can even put those solar panels on top of the car, like and that thing, and whenever it's driving in the sun, it's always getting charged, like the power. And so, I mean, there are things which you can do for that. Like depends on what the power is. If there is a like a hydropower situation or whatever, and the electricity, like how it could have been made before, in certain kind of ways, electricity generation which can happen more easily, like Tesla kind of ways and things like that, and transmit it more easily. Then electric car would have more of that thing. And they have been around. I mean, they just didn't let them come. Even in Tesla's time, there was electric car being made at that time, you know. And this is 90 years from now. You're still like that thing. So electric cars was a good idea, but depended on the region again. Like, more like if it's too cold and stuff, and there's no sun and different times, and electricity is a problem, and that thing, and these charging stations don't work different times, and you reach your charging station and it doesn't work, then you get stuck. And that's why they try to bring in the hybrid thing, so that you can at least have some fuel which can take you back until it charges again, like, or whatever, while you drive and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
uh,
Personally, I would go hybrid if I would have to change. If I
yeah,
would
hybrid is more
hybrid,
better in that
definitely,
way,
because
for the current practical situation. Like taking
yeah,
all the practical situation into.
exact.
Yeah,
Now, a lot of people are talking exactly about electric cars like being a way to limit our movement again. Like they want to put us all, they put the price of gas so high that we have no choice to go electric, and then we stay in the city, we stay in the smart city.
yeah,
Like
but yeah,
there
people
is
are
a
saying
lot
that,
of
but then a lot of hybrids, like I think every company is coming with a hybrid car,
yeah,
every company. So then if they were just doing that, they wouldn't bring pure electrics. They won't bring the hybrids. With the hybrids, you don't have this, that you are blocked in and stuff, like,
that's
that that argument does not hold true, like that. So,
yeah.
and in hybrid, the fuel will be saved as well, because you'll run sometimes on electric, because every time the car runs on the fuel, you are charging the battery at the same time. So it is like,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's it. I lost what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something about the electric. Oh, why not free energy? That's my point. Why not go on free energy? Why, when we run with those electric cars, the wheels are turning? When I was younger, I used to have a dynamo on my bike, and the light would light up with the wheel turning. So
yeah,
why can't we not use free energy when the wheel turn, the brakes and stuff? That recharges the battery. But no, you have to go with another form of control, which is the electricity. They can control which consume, so
yeah.
they won't have a
Yeah, obviously,
control
because
on
when a
you.
car runs,
But
obviously that's why like a battery can charge at the time. Through that motion, you can charge.
yeah,
That's what happens in the hybrids, that they are charging while you're running. So that's the whole point of the hybrid. But it took a long time for that to happen, which could have
okay,
happened like
okay,
70 years ago.
yeah, exactly.
But it is happening only now. That is the strange thing. That shows the mindset of the people, that thing, that they don't. What is the mindset at the top? Because it could have happened anytime. Because how to charge anything from a dynamo situation, a movement situation, has been there technology for long, 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 long time. Like there's been,
Yeah,
so.
like it makes so much sense that. But now you say that, I heard about that the hybrid now. I read that the other day that the battery would get recharged with the movement and the brakes and stuff.
But that should be normal. Like
Yeah, it
every
should
time
be
you're
like
moving,
standard.
yeah, yeah. Every time you're moving, obviously it should get charged. I mean, that should be the whole point. But to get to that taking this long shows that there must be some that thing with the oil companies and the governments and all of that. There is a nexus at the top, which wants more fuel consumption and more that things, and all of, there has to be that. And I think a lot of people have gone into that and it's,
Oh yeah.
exposed it. I would say, like
And
already.
also electrical company, here in Quebec, there's one, Hydro Quebec, and it's the government, so they
Yeah,
control everything about the energy.
yeah, yeah,
Like everything, it's crazy. Anyway,
yeah.
so that's why I say, why not free energy? Now I've heard also about free energy, that we could harvest free energy from the heater and make some kind of device that pulls energy from the heater.
Mm.
What about that,
Yeah,
PT?
but nothing is actually free in this matrix.
That's
First,
good.
first, people have to understand that nothing is really free. When they say
Okay.
free, it appears to be free, but if you start doing that, then something else will start going wrong somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
you download something from there and something else. There is some price for everything. You know, whenever you use energy. So
That's
so
like solar energy. Okay, it's very good, but you gotta store that energy. So now it's not free. You gotta buy all kinds of batteries, and it's super expensive.
yeah,
Just to
yeah,
have that solar. If you have a few solar panels, if you hope
yeah.
to supply your
Yeah, so there
house
is
with,
always a catch. So there's always
that's
a
it.
catch
There's
with
always a catch. It seems.
energy. With the ether energy, there'll be a catch that if you're taking energy from that point, you have to actually spiritually, through meditation and through that thing, refurnish that energy.
Yeah.
So then everybody will have to do meditations and refurnish that energy. Otherwise, the balance in nature would be disturbed completely. So what I'm saying is, it's not so free as people think it is, because there is some work. It's just different kind of work required for different things. For some kind of thing like coal, you have to dig in the ground and take out the coal or fuel, or like for something, some other kind of work is required for solar, some other kind of work is required for some other energy, some other kind of work is required. The etheric energy will require a different kind of work. And I don't know if the human beings are ready for that kind of work as yet. You know, like what what that work
So
is. Yeah,
the only free energy we can hope to access is really the energy of our beings, because you
yeah,
say
yeah,
that
yeah.
nothing is free. So
Yeah,
the
yeah, that is
only
obviously like the life force which is inside you, which is powerful.
that's it.
That this body, when which leaves, and then the body
That's
finishes.
what we were talking about. The
Yeah, yeah,
energy leaves the body.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
So that is like, so. I think the free energy is like a sort of oxymoron in the in itself. Like
yeah.
it's not free. Like there is some price for it, but it's there is some work for all energy. There is some work required for all energy. So like let's
Exactly. And whatever, if you
they should call
harvest,
every energy work energy.
yeah,
Work energy, and there is a different kind of work required for all
exactly.
kinds of energies.
And even like the solar energy or the free energy you would harvest with some kind of device from the heater,
Yeah,
you have to store it.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
again, you're stuck with batteries or some kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can,
So it's not like there's work.
so it's not free.
It's work energy.
Exactly.
There's a certain
Okay.
amount of work associated with every kind of energy.
Okay. For today, we're gonna finish with weather manipulation. Okay, we've heard a lot of stuff that they can manipulate the weather, whether it's a whether it's with ARP in I think
Yeah,
Alaska or something. They have something up north. It's called the ARP, and they shoot frequencies in the ionosphere or something up there
like
to manipulate the weather. And then there's also
there are two.
chemtrails supposedly to manipulate the weather. Can they do that, PT? Can they go to such an extent to create tornadoes and hurricanes and floods and stuff? Can they do that?
Yes, there's two things. Like one thing is called trying something, and there's thing actually doing it or being able to do it. Okay, so they have been trying. Okay, but it's not been done. Okay, trying is one thing, and doing it is another thing. Okay, so if because if this had like tornadoes and stuff, that is not possible anyways right now at all. Even whatever, like even just to make rain happen somewhere, simple things, like I'll just say, like it's very droughty, you know you know where people are doing drip irrigation. They try to do drip irrigation. There's hardly any water, and every drop they're trying to count, so they can easily make rain in that area. For example, Israel, or
Yeah.
any of these, just as an example. But they can't do that really. You know, they they have not been able to do that. And whatever weather changes are happening in the patterns right now in the world in the last 30, 40 years, or last 15, 20 years, and last 10 years especially, have been happening by forces which are much bigger than they anything to do with them. So it's nothing to do with them at all. Like, so, this is I think like there are a lot of people in the Truther community or whatever. They like to give the so-called government and elites much more power than they actually have. You know, it's like the Wizard of Oz story, like where that old man is there behind the curtain and he's just has this thing, and it's appearing like a superpower and stuff, but it's not. It's just a regular person. So I think a lot of myths have been spread, about the amount of power they have in everything, you know, which makes them appear such strong force. And I think the beings in the elite and the all top people, they don't discount these stories because they like to appear like that. They say like these people are spreading that by themselves, so why should we say no? Like we'll go along with it. We'll say yeah, 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 that's okay. Like, yeah, yeah, we can do. You know, like it's like that. You know, because it only creates more fear in the masses about the beings in government and that thing that those people are somehow having some extraordinary powers. How will we fight with them? You know, they have so much
Yeah.
power, which they don't really have. You know, it's another one of these scams. So, like,
So,
that's
do you think with a better mindset, a better harmony on Earth, less discord and less chaos, we could collectively, together, the beings of the Earth, create a more
the weather
rich
will change.
weather,
The weather
more
will change.
sun, less
Yeah,
rain, less.
weather will change. Anyways, the beings change on Earth, weather changes.
Okay. So, if
This,
we
this
change,
yeah, that is the only technology. Whoa,
because
whoa.
a lot of people that I've heard some say that yes, we all want change, but we are the change that we want.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, human beings and that thing, if they are living in more harmony and they are everything is happening in the right way and they're following the multiple rules and stuff like that, then the Earth weather will be much nicer than it is right now.
The animals free,
Yeah,
no animals in
yeah, everything,
captivity.
all the things right, like then weather will be much better than what it is right now. Everywhere. That's just
That's
a
what I
fact.
always thought.
That is just a fact. So
Yeah,
uh, it's not them. It's the what the actions beings are doing. That's what is messing up the thing. And then
creates
you can't then
chaos.
then you can't say then you can't blame it on harp and this and that.
I've heard that our plan, all
Yeah,
their
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
technology,
it is
they
all
try stuff,
yeah, yeah. It's just nonsense.
but it's just trying.
Yeah, no truth to it.
Exactly. So, large up, PT, a great half an hour again. We'll do that again next Thursday if you are
Yes, yes,
available
yes.
again.
Okay,
It would
okay.
be a delight for me to have you again.
Yes,
Large up, everyone, also in the chat. It's paramount. Yeah. So, I'll see you again
yes.
next Thursday. Large up.